like all the way to back east and stuff like that. It's an agriculture, it's called that agriculture magazine.
Yeah, because I've been trying to
Put it on LoopNet, it's free.
no, LoopNet, he has it on LoopNet, but he says he has to pay for that.
How about you put it? On the free for LoopNet?
LoopNet? Okay, I'm gonna do it. There's a agricultural network. But I found that was like, I have to like go one by one and actually like send my emails to each individual. Because I wasn't able to get like the mediums, said because they have to have like a certain area, like farming, for the title to be part of them, so like, give you a broader.
I have a question. How do you guys find your list? Like, do you pay, do you pay a company to give you the contents, or do you go out and post it?
I'm starting a farm in my area.
Hi. Well, I work with my friends, so I'm doing a little bit of farming.
So far, I've gotten.
Are you an agent here?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, we're all agents here.
Hi.
What's your name?
Radha.
Alva.
Hi, I'm Sylvia.
Hi, Jenna.
I'm Kelly.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, there's food, and I think they're gonna get started soon.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring you a chair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Statistically,
Rascals. I have a doctor's appointment at 1, so we'll get started. I gotta go. I do, I just asked her, she's almost here.
Oh, okay.
But there's,
I'm farming in my area, so you gotta farm me. So there's a way where you can, or San Diego County, just look for agriculture.
time we're about to start right now.
That's it. Are you guys doing this here already?
Yes, yes, the action room is getting ready.
Oh.
And then push it to the fridge and buy some.
Thank you. Properties.
Okay.
Because some of them might live out of state and they lease, because they own the house, but they lease the land to like an avocado farm or something. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because they're not aware, because they're out of state.
Yeah, that's true.
So get the owners from the county recorder's office for all agriculture properties in San Diego County. So that's what we do. All your title, rep, and then whatever you want over there, yeah.
They'll give you. But most numbers are registered, do not disturb something. I mean, do not,
I don't call.
I don't call you.
I don't want to go over.
So you just.
This age,
But most of the time it's just,
Hi.
the best thing is the
That's
best.
good. You call me so many times, have you called? I'm like,
But ten
I called
posters,
one,
we
and
have
I
a
just called them again.
Yeah.
Not like before.
I don't like people that call me, so I don't like to call. I get all the calls, and they're like, hey, we have a potential buyer, and I go, have you driven by this house? And they're like, no. And you know it's not a tear down.
No, I can.
And you go by, you know that it's a brand new build, right?
Let me double check.
And I saw the, your sellers, like, your.
They call me, yeah. It was a 30-day whirlwind for sure. And we closed on 28th. So that closed the 18th, and then 10 days later. Yeah.
you want to text her and we can always wait.
Right.
Then I have the live stream up there. I have the live stream up, but that should be. Save the screen.
Which one?
She was,
Her neighbor?
it was, no, it was like, she was doing an ADU or Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And Ray, you're okay if we send this out to our agents, the ones that aren't here?
I almost did it. It
Oh, we got my-
almost- I had had some issues at the end, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're dying.
I'll use some more.
But it was, I jumped through some serious hoops at the air at the end there, but I didn't happen, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And the car just worked out perfectly for them. So. One level with the garage, the tenant
You can put
bedroom,
him over here.
2 bedrooms, 2 baths. 10 days ago. Yeah, so it was. They looked at a condo on Sunday, and they said, you get your hooks up there, buy a car to sit here on Monday, and they can't make this shit happen, this bill's gonna go through. And so the minute they went through on Monday, they offered up to.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are
Welcome.
you? Thanks.
As our newest agent, can I put you on the spot and just kind of give us a 30-second introduction to our,
Oh, yeah.
to the agents that are here?
All right, okay.
You're on, and then I'll introduce our speaker.
Oops. Oh, it's not so interesting though. All right, so originally I'm from New York. I worked there for several years, but this real estate is not my field actually. I'm from a science background. So after
You
moving.
have a chemical engineer, right? You're,
I'm a actually a research scientist,
Oh, wow.
chemistry field. So I developed several methods when I was working in New York lab. And then about just before pandemic, I moved here. And as soon as I got the license, we were hit by pandemic, and then I had a license in my hand, but did nothing.
Well, welcome to sunny California.
Oh, thank you, yes. I like the weather here.
you have family out here, right?
Yeah, my daughter moved here, like 3 years before me.
Okay.
So I took the retirement, came over here, and now basically I'm starting real estate field now.
And that's your first name, is it Radu?
No, Radha.
Rada.
Yeah. Radhu is actually my nickname.
Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I heard it then.
Yeah, so first name is Radha.
From where originally, where's the accent from?
Oh, India.
India.
Originally from India.
Wow.
But I came in this country like.
You know you have an accent, right?
Yeah, I said. Because I grew up there, that's what my daughter said. I still have Indian accent. I like to keep that right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
As long as everyone understands me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're great, you're good. You're better at English than I would be at whatever they speak in India.
Rada, thank you, and thanks for allowing me to put you on the spot.
Oh,
here for
no
introducing
problem,
yourself.
that's fine, thank
All right,
you.
so let me do a little informal introduction here to Ray. Ray and I, we go back 10 plus years. I don't know how long it's.
More than that.
Carolina.
Yeah.
More than that.
I'm sorry, Ray.
Yeah, yeah. But what's really interesting, I always tell this, is that when interest rates first dropped, they were like 6 or 7%, and they went down to 4%. And for those that were in the business back then, the press was all saying, oh, you know, this is temporary, this is never going to stay at these low rates, right? So Ray comes in at one of our annual meetings, and he says, no, it's probably gonna drop down 0.5% this next year. And it's like, yeah, right, you know, we never believed him. And as we know now, over the next few years, it continued to drop. So I've always been very impressed at his.
He was 7 years at the lows.
Yeah, we had a long run at those.
Well, I was right on that essentially every year that we knew.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, consistently, and almost no one agreed with me. I mean, I would take a show of hands, you know, who
Right.
thinks they'll go up, down, or stay the same? Most agents would say up, and I would say, you're crazy, and they'd come back next year, and there was no humility, and they'd say up, and I'd say, you're crazy. So we had a little gig going on that.
That's right. And so I'm really curious. The reason I invite him, the only reason I invite him, that's his humor, is to get his predictions for interest rates. But he has some other interesting stuff he's gonna share with us. So Ray from Beverly Hills Financial, he'll send out some business cards and stuff at the end of the meeting. But feel free to ask any questions as we go on. This is very informal,
Very
and
important.
we got a very small group here, so if ladies, maybe you can swing around here and let him have that side.
And this is my colleague Caroline Racknitz. Caroline and I have worked together since 2001.
Beginning of January of 2001.
Is that right, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay.
Crazy.
Behind every successful man is a more successful
That's
woman,
23
right?
years.
23
Yeah.
years,
We're
Caroline?
getting old, baby. She
Teenager
was right out of school. essentially.
then, right?
Well, pretty close. Pretty
And no
close.
kids.
No marriage, no nothing. So now 2 children, et cetera. But Caroline is a financial advisor and is a fiduciary, and we work together as 23 years now. At any rate, and I think I've given talks with her for more than 10 years, considerably more. I think it's probably closer to 12 or 15.
Yeah, and you've also come to my, El Camino, my classes and stuff, so
Right.
I appreciate that.
And I have been, I try and keep up, and realistically, and not to be overly self-flattering, but I have been pretty accurate, more accurate than most on things like interest rates, et cetera. And the reason we do this, we hope you all become our client. I mean, otherwise I would stay home. No, we're financial advisors, and we handle retirement accounts and other investment assets other than real estate. But we stay in touch with real estate because it's such an important component of the economy. Interest rates, let's just start there perhaps. I think that an awful lot of people feel that interest rates will slip lower this coming year. I'm not that optimistic about it. And I think you should not promote it because I think it freezes people that they're going to want to wait. And I don't think they're going to be right. And if they're right, I think it'll be a fractional difference. I don't think it'll be meaningful. I don't believe the Fed went through all of this ratcheting up of rates to abandon the project very readily. I think they'll dig in their heels and stick with it. And I feel that it would benefit you to take that approach, whether I'm right or wrong. And I'd like to be wrong on this. I mean, I would rather, that they relent, but I don't feel they will. But whether I'm right or wrong, I would not be overly promoting that to prospective clients because I think it just freezes them to say, well, we'll wait. Does that make sense to all of you? So I don't think they'll go down much, if at all. And I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. But the problem in real estate, and I think we're also broadcasting this out to other agents who aren't here today.
Yeah, just.
And am I in the right spot for that? I mean, I don't know
We got you.
your layout. Okay. I'd also like to talk about things like inventory and so on. Let me just tell you, I know that there's a shortage of inventory in your business. There has been for some time now, and that's likely to stay. But I want you to consider who's the most dangerous person in your career life. It's you. The most powerful determinant of how you're going to do is not interest rates, it's not inventory, it's not any of that. It's really the most powerful determinant to your success is you. You got to get out and work. And that's always been true, and it's no different now. When there's no inventory or limited inventory, I must tell you, a lot of realtors will bow out. They'll get discouraged. They won't work. So you don't have as much inventory, but you also don't have as much competition. So I think you can make a pretty solid year, but it's going to be on you to do it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about and kind of beat you up on this, frankly, because it's easy to get discouraged and bow out and give yourself an excuse. But you will be your own worst enemy. You're the most dangerous component of your career, and you can remedy it. And also, we're coming into an election year. Usually election years are pretty good. The incumbent candidate will tend to stimulate because they want to get reelected. An incumbent who can run again, incumbents leave it, they don't give a damn. But an incumbent who can run again tends to want to stimulate. So you will probably have a pretty good economic year. And we had a very good economic year last year. I mean, if you take polls of the public, it's amazing to me you know, everybody's online reading stuff, and I don't know what the hell they're reading, because they seem to be totally out of touch. So let me just give you a sampling. In public surveys, people tend to be pessimistic. Bizarre. They do not trust most institutions, including the government, the Supreme Court, the media, the military. I mean, they just don't. They're all at historic lows based on surveys. 4 out of 5 people believe the economy is bad and getting worse.
It's 80%.
Yeah.
That's what I read also.
Yeah. But here are the facts. Almost everything is moving forward. We've had a very good year. Material well-being is off the charts. The stock market has done very well. If you can find a house to buy, they'll sell fast in most cases. I mean, you would know that better than I, but isn't that pretty true?
Right.
I mean, the domestic economy has been in an uptick. We did not have a recession, contrary to what a lot of people thought. We have among the lowest unemployment in American history. Inflation is going in the right direction after a short-term spike. Real wages are up. Consumer spending is high. We're doing better than any other country in the world in terms of inflation, employment, etc., growth. We're in a Goldilocks moment, and everybody's pessimistic. It's kind of interesting. And then you have these new diet drugs. What do they call them? Ozempic? How do you say it?
Ozempic or something?
Okay. They will have a dramatic impact on healthcare, like diabetes and other ailments. I mean, it's really pretty dramatic. Crime, 77% of people surveyed said crime is going up. Fact is, it's substantially higher than it was 20 or 30 years ago. Lower. Substantially lower than 20 or 30 years ago.
Wow.
Murder rate is down 12% last year from the year before. The climate, global carbon emissions are 1/3 lower than they were in 2007. I mean, most of the issues that surveys say people are pessimistic about are actually pretty good shape. It's so weird. You're in sales. You got to just blow through this kind of incorrect ideas and pessimistic ideas. You've got to see the truth, not the non-truth. I mean, it's just, I don't care what your politics are or anything else. I mean, the fact is, we're in a pretty good period. Now, maybe you think some other candidate would have had us in a better period or not. I don't know. But we're in a good period. And I think you need to bring that to the table, because that's the truth.
Okay. Can I make a devil's comment here on the?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are seeing the inflation impact us, like when we go to the markets and we go to
Gas station. Yeah.
fast food. I mean,
Right.
everything is up dramatically.
No question. No
So-
question. And we had this short spike, but it is subsiding. It's getting better. The inflation is for real, though. I mean, things are expensive. I mean, go out to dinner or go to the gas station, whatever. But they're subsiding. They're getting a little bit better. You know, there's no doubt about that. One of the dirty little secrets that a lot of people don't realize is we do want inflation in our society. I don't know if you know that, but we don't want as much as we had. We had a pretty good spike there. But a lot of that spike wasn't, as it turns out, doesn't seem to be institutionalized. It was really the throwing money around during the pandemic. And the previous spike of inflation of major magnitude was when we threw money around in the oil shortage in the late 70s and 80s. But, you know, you have to weigh that. No, none of us like that kind of spike in inflation. But ask yourself, would I rather have no oil or spend more money? They were the choices. We opted to have some inflation, and otherwise, if we didn't have any energy, the economy would shut down. So it was the lesser of two evils. And most people thought at the time, regardless of your politics and so on, that the lesser of two evils was to throw money at the pandemic rather than not. You know, in hindsight, some people may disagree, and the pandemic wasn't as much as they feared and so on. But going into it, there was no debate. Throw money at it. And these people are going to not be able to work. Let's give them money. Let's keep them going. Keep businesses going and so on. So you're dealing with the lesser of two evils, but that created a lot of spike. Because when you have a lot of money to throw around, people will start spending in bid on prices. And there was a lot of money thrown around.
The other issue I had was, I know historically from listening to you, that the country goes through a lot of small recessions, maybe for 1 or 2 quarters historically. And then obviously we've had some really big downturns, but I was surprised, this is just a few years ago, when we had the 2 quarters of a negative GDP, and they changed the definition of what a recession is and said, oh, no, we're not in a recession. I mean, that for me, it just makes me distrust the
Yeah, you
news.
distrust, yeah.
Because they're changing these rules, whereas had they just said, yeah, I know it's a short recession, we've had 40 of them in the last 10 years, you know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, the economic world, I understand that, and you know, listen, people do fool around with numbers. You know, what Mark Twain had a famous line there: liars, damn liars, and statistics. I can make them sing, dance, whistle, and stand on their head for you.
Yeah.
So there is that, but you also do want to refine your economic analysis and reporting too. And you know, we're pretty good at this. Listen, you know, we've had an unrelenting prosperity since World War II. I mean, that's a really incredibly remarkable miracle. I mean, it's really amazing. And the hard life has been expanded to include everyone, regardless of race, really busted. You can succeed. My wife goes to Arthur Murray ballroom dancing classes, and there's this woman from China, has an accent.
Half of our agents have probably never heard of that before.
What's that accent?
Ballroom dancing.
No, Arthur Murray.
Arthur Murray, yeah. Do you guys know who Arthur Murray is?
Yes.
Arthur Murray was a famous dancer in the 1920s and 30s.
I don't
Who sort of
where do you go to
invented
ballroom dance though?
Huh?
Like,
Ballroom dancing is the waltz.
I know, but I'm saying, in my whole lifetime, that's never happened besides on TV.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So-
It's like Dancing with the Stars. kind of
Yeah.
thing. Anyhow, so there's this.
It's good exercise too.
Oh, it's very good. Yeah, my wife does that and tap dance. And, you know, for her age and so on, it's pretty good.
Well, but she's only, what, 28, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. At home to keep the peace. At any rate, this woman said, as long as you can speak English and work hard, you're gonna make it in this country. I mean, that was heartwarming. As long as you can speak English and work hard, you're gonna make it in this country. I think she's right. I thought that was kind of interesting to add to speak English. You know? But I like that. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the working hard part and try and be a little more specific. But remember, in my judgment, you are the most dangerous person to yourself if you don't get with it. I mean, more than all this other stuff. Whenever I first started out in the financial business, which was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is my original home, I cold called because I'm not from a silver spoon family, actually from a fairly poor family, and so I didn't have any connections or anything, and I didn't know anything about this stuff. We didn't have talk of investment at our dinner table because there was no money to invest. So I was really stuck on cold calling. And I cold called in person. Most of the people in our industry cold called on the phone. I did not. Now I had a downtown and skyscraper, so I could work a building, and I could go knock on office doors, not home doors like you all have to. And I tried to set real disciplines. I made it my business to cold call 2 days a week, 6 hours a day. There were no cell phones in those days, but I didn't take a newspaper or anything else with me. I would get a half-hour lunch quick and get back to it. So I had no distractions. So I went home tired, and I was a really high-energy person, and I went home tired. I don't know how many doors I would knock on, probably 20, 25, but I tried as a goal to be able to actually engage and talk to someone and be invited in 10 a day, whenever I went 2 days a week. I almost never made my goal. I would get 6 to 8 pretty regularly. 10 was really rare for me. But that was my goal, and I almost never hit it. And it's discouraging. I didn't like that. But there's not enough time in the day. If you really engage someone, you're going to spend a little time with them, right? So 10 was really tough. And I did it a handful of times. But I would do it 2 days a week. I was religious about it. I got my best clients from it. Because, you know, when you give seminars, which is what Caroline usually does and so on nowadays, you tend to get the middle class. When you're knocking on doors, hell, you get somebody who's rich. I mean, so we got some of our best clients because you can kind of pick where you're going. And I was very disciplined. I only cold called to make an appointment some future date. I didn't want to talk to them right then and there. And I would tell them I have another appointment to go to, so I can't do it now, but we can schedule Monday or whatever it was. So I was very disciplined about it. And I remember every once in a while people would say to me, well, I can give you a half an hour. So when I'd come to their office, I'd take my watch off, put it on the table, and in a half hour I was done. I don't give a damn. They'd say, oh, no, we can continue again. Hopefully they'd get interested. Nope, we got to reschedule. I told you a half hour. So I tried to be perceived as extraordinarily reliable. You know, when we made the appointment, I was on time. And so I got great clients out of that. Did I like it? No, it's, you know, it's pain. I mean, it's a lot of work. What I should have done in hindsight, and what I'd recommend to you, is do the same thing 2 days a week, religiously. Eventually, you'll get used to it and you'll get good at it. Not initially. I would bring lottery tickets with me. I would give people a lottery ticket if they'll spend time with you. I think most people will find that charming. And if they win, just kill yourself. But I think most people would find that charming. You know, it's a nice little gift, and it costs you, what does a lottery ticket cost? I don't buy them, $1 or $2?
I think about $2.
$2? Okay. So, you know, buy 10 lottery tickets. So you're spending $40 a week or less. And give them, you know, if you spend a little bit of time with me to tell me about your neighborhood, not about your house, but about your neighborhood, I would appreciate it. I'm trying to learn the area.
Is that a tax deduction, lottery ticket?
Probably, if you're giving them money. I have no idea.
Self-promotion.
I have no idea. Yeah, probably it's advertising.
Advertising.
Marketing.
Yeah.
As long as your business card's stapled to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, yeah, why not? But at any rate, I would try and team up with 2 other people in the agency. If you do that, and all 3 of you agree to do 2 days a week, you've covered all 6 days. You've covered every day of the week. And I take, once the pandemic hit, I stopped going to the gym. So I take walks, take like an hour walk. And it's fascinating to me. I lost weight more than when I went to the gym. It was weird. I was lighter than my high school weight. And I was really surprised because at the gym, I felt like I was working out more rigorously. But, oh well. So they say walking is good. It's been for me. But I will tell you, if I had somebody to take walks with that was relying on me to show up, I would be more diligent. So if you can work in a team where somebody's counting on you, and they're not a flake, I mean, you know, they're counting on you, you're counting on them, I think you'll be more effective. But if you work in a team, don't go to the same house, 2 of you. The hell with that, because you're going to socialize. You've got to not have distractions. Put that damn phone away and call on these people. Don't fritter your day away and go home tired with fake work. I mean, try and get to talk to somebody. I think you'll score. I think you'll score. Now, who are you going to score with? Here's where you're going to get inventory. People who have died. People who are ill. They have to move to a home or whatever. Or they just need to sell their house because they need more resources to provide for themselves in their illness. People are getting divorced. People who are downsizing, or moving out of state or whatever, retiring. And people are upsizing because maybe they're having family. That's it. I mean, there's not a lot of inventory in the market, so you've got to really understand that's your niche. There's 5 niches. That's it. So if you get into a young neighborhood with young newlyweds or living together, or singles, they could be vulnerable in that they may want to marry and start a family or whatever, so they're gonna upsize, not just downsize, they may upsize. But also older neighborhoods, illness, death, divorce, and moving. Does that make sense to you? And there's plenty of them out there, and there aren't as many of you out there attacking at that. Because real estate agents, a lot of them are discouraged. There's plenty of opportunity out there. There really is. I think that, I'm not sure if I have this number right, but I think I read that inventory is down something like 30 or 35% nationwide. I don't know about your particular area, but nationwide. But the number of realtors who are actually working is down a lot more than that. I mean, really getting out there and doing it. So, you know, you still have good opportunity, but you have to work it. Okay, what do homeowners love to talk about if you can get them engaged? The value of their house. How much did they pay for it and when? And, oh, I made so much money, especially in Southern California. They love that subject, how smart they were. And they weren't. And you're in a wonderful area. I mean, you're not living in Buffalo, New York. I mean, you live in Southern California. You do not know a single person. You won't be able to find a single person who's owned a home in your marketing area for 5 years or more who isn't grateful they bought it. Everybody who's owned a home in your area and owned it for 5 years or more, they're grateful they did it. They will be grateful 5 years from now. I don't give a damn what interest rates are. They'll be grateful. And do you penalize them? How does this work?
No, I'm glad she showed up.
Oh, okay. You're an easy
We're
one.
drink here.
Yeah, you're an easy one. And as I said at the top, I don't believe interest rates are going to be meaningfully different. I don't, for the next year. But if they are, they can refi. And if they aren't, if they continue to go higher, which I don't think either, but if they were to, they can stick with what they have. So actually, they're in the driver's seat once they procured the situation.
What do you think they're gonna get to?
Well, I can see them going down less than a half point.
From right now?
Yeah. That would be my guess. By year end, I think less than a half point. And a lot of people don't agree with that.
Because they're saying like the 5.5.
Yeah, I'm skeptical.
Both CA, and we're gonna hold you to this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, I hope I'm wrong.
I know.
No, because
I mean, I'm
CAR,
not,
they're
you know,
thinking
there's no
5.25.
ego here. I'd love to be wrong.
And it's funny that you mentioned the feds, because that was my thinking also. They've been in such hot water and criticized so much, rightly so, for doubling the rates over 1 year, which I think was totally wrong.
Well,
but they're not.
let me interrupt there though. This is only the second time in American history we've had what is called a soft landing. And so far it looks like they've engineered a soft landing, so you really gotta give it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, because they could have,
Okay.
and I have no problem with 6%, as you know.
Yeah, right,
6% mortgage rate.
Historically is low,
Yeah. I
not
mean,
not compared to the recent, but
Right,
it's
but
low.
when you go from 3 to 6 in a year.
Yeah, I know.
And I think if it had been stretched out over a couple of years, it would have
Well, I think what they did was they misjudged early, so they freaked.
Well, we agree on that.
Yeah, they misjudged.
Yeah.
Misjudged.
And my point is, like you mentioned, is the feds, it's gonna be really difficult for them to come back.
I think so.
Yeah, but
It'd be hard to
everybody,
abandon.
all of the economists that we've been reading about are saying about a 1% drop next year.
Well, that would be wonderful.
But it's
I'm
also
skeptical.
raised in like this week.
Yeah, well, no, and it has. In fact, there's under 6 now, but.
Yeah,
You know, most mortgage rates are already higher. They just take a while to bring it down because
Yeah.
their rate's gonna change.
yeah.
That way they can.
Yeah,
correct.
no,
But we're gonna hold it to you, 0.5%, right? That's it.
I suspect that's in
At
the
the most.
ballpark.
What's
Yeah,
it today? Write it down.
yeah.
No, we got it on tape, we got it.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that's
So you
likely.
think it's gonna go down to, say, 5.25?
No,
No.
he's saying it's
Half
the
of
same
it.
6.
No.
Stay
We're
in
like
the
6.7.
I think so.
around there.
And it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. What I'm telling you is I wouldn't be pitching that to people because it'll freeze them to wait.
Right, that's right.
I don't think it benefits anyone. I think that it's counterproductive to your business.
No, they,
And look, if you get them to make a transaction and rates go down, so they refinance. I mean, they can't lose on the deal, but you don't want to freeze them.
well, a lot of people have been frozen precisely because it was so positive that they were hoping that it would still go down or, that it would stay
Yeah,
the same.
I think that to pitch it, that rates are going down and like this is a good thing, it would be a good thing, but I think it freezes people. I think I'm right. I'd love to be wrong.
I mean, don't forget, it's also an election year, meaning interest rates are still gonna go down. And
See,
that's
if you
what we
came
just
on
have people
time, you
like-
would know. No,
I
you already
just
just came
I
on,
was
you would
covered.
know, we covered that.
I was the driver, so don't blame
You're an
me.
innocent
We
bystander.
were,
I'm the innocent
the
bystander.
bridge.
Yeah, we talked about it. An election year, usually.
It's a history of,
It's not just an election year, it's an election year where the incumbent can run again.
Yeah.
Very,
Yes.
very big difference. They will tend to stimulate.
Mhm.
And we did talk about that, but I agree with you. I agree with you.
but there
No,
is
that
a history of it too, with,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
election.
Now, an election year where the incumbent is a lame duck, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Is he gonna make it to November?
Don't you think our,
Kelly.
I guess that's political, I can't say that, but our president's a lame duck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
He's not a lame duck unless he's voted out.
Yes,
The answer is no.
that's
The answer is no.
station.
Um, at any rate, so people like to talk about the value of their home, how much they've made on it, right? One other thing to give you subjects to talk about with people, particularly if they're a little older, is their home in their name or the name of a trust? I'm here to tell you, it ought to be in the name of a trust. So if they tell you it's in my own name, you got something to talk about. Find a goddamn trust attorney that will charge them $1,000 or $1,200.
We have one on staff.
Yeah.
Okay, move it to a trust, and I can help you with that. That's gonna get you through that door. Because if they don't, their children are gonna cry at the funeral, but they're not gonna cry because they're gone. They're gonna cry because they screwed them.
Yeah.
It just- That's what's gonna happen. So get it in a trust.
But you can only tell the clients, I mean, every single client that I've had that, because I've dealt with a lot of buyers, I've told them that. I've given them the names and I've told them the moment that you get your title, put it on.
I don't care if they do it or not. You're now creating a relationship.
He's talking about cold calling.
Yeah, whether they do it or not, I mean, if they don't, they're foolish, but you don't have to be an advocate for trust. You're there to sell a damn house. But this will get you a relationship, the beginning of a relationship, for some people, But I think that's a pretty interesting, and maybe it's old news for you guys. At any rate, you are selling a commodity. Now, what are other commodities? Other commodities are gold and coal and silver and whatever. I gotta tell you, if you are a miner for coal, you better work hard and get your hands dirty. You're in the same boat. You need to work hard and get your hands dirty. You're selling a commodity. It's tangible, brick, mortar, and dirt. You can kick it, feel it, and touch it. And it has little to do with you except your ability to build a relationship. That house, it doesn't know you. It doesn't know the people who live in it. It doesn't know anything. So you need to really dig deep to get that relationship. And that's going to come. I don't know how else to do it. You either have a good list of people you've worked with or referrals or you got to do it on. You got to mine your territory. Do you guys call it mining?
Farming.
Farming. Well, okay.
Sowing the seeds. you know.
Okay, I would call it mining. You gotta dig hard. You gotta get out there 2 days a week, 6 hours a day, no distractions, put the damn phone away and knock on doors. And try and get to talk to 10 people a day. Talk to them, actually talk to them. And knocking on the door saying hello, goodbye, and they throw you out, that's not talking to them. You gotta really try to engage them. And I think if you take some lottery tickets with you, it may help you. It might be a crutch. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you'll find you can abandon that. It doesn't really work. Maybe I was naive. But it would work for me. Somebody knocks on my door and says, if you talk to me about your neighborhood, not your house, be a little bit more arm's length, your neighborhood. I think, yeah, I have a neighbor down the street, and her husband just passed away, and I think she is thinking about it. I think you might get some of that. Not every day, but some. I do believe if you talk to 6 to 8 to 10 people a day, I bet you 2 days a week, I bet you get an interested party once a week. That's my guess. I may be wrong, but that's my guess.
That's great. Yeah.
You think that's true?
Yeah, definitely.
You think?
And so in your career, in your industry, at what point do you focus just on your database, on your?
I don't. We're always marketing. We do, but we don't do cold calls now. We do seminars more. It talks like this, but we do in the libraries, schools. Sometimes we'll do dinner seminars, a couple a year. What's that?
Group settings.
Yeah. Real estate agencies, but mostly libraries. Caroline does Santa Monica College and Torrance Adult Education a number of times a year, quite a lot. And we're doing a seminar at the Rancho Palms, whatever it is, library on Overland on February 1st, and we'll probably have 30 or 40 people there, we think. So yeah, I mean, we stay in touch because you can't just rely on most of our clients, we have their money. Or what we don't have, we're not going to get. We have clients that we have their money, but maybe not their spouses or their children, then we're not going to get it. They have different, whatever. Especially if there were late marriages, a husband has an advisor they're comfortable with, but so yeah, I mean, if we have their account, we have their account. There's additional movements and whatnot, but that's really service. There's a big world out there for you. I would also, I mean, you would all know this better than I, but if I were in real estate, I think I would really be trying to attack the condo and townhouse kind of business. I think there is some building there, even in these tight areas. Building is going through the roof. I don't know if can you put up a chart for me real quick or no?
Plans.
Sure.
Your plans,
Yeah, put up Yahoo Finance. Can you do that?
Give me just a second.
There's a stock XHB. XHB. If I were a realtor, I'd follow this stock at all times. This is an index of home builders. I know you folks aren't dealing with new homes much at all. XHB. But it is an index of home builders nationwide. It's not local or anything like that. But that stock's gone through the roof. And to me, that's a barometer of how real estate will be. I check that at least once a week because I give talks to real estate agents for a long, long time. And to me, that is the canary in the mine of how we're doing. So if you can get that up, I mean, you're going to be blown away. People, if they can find land, they'll build on it. I mean, it's just that simple. We need houses. We are so short of housing. Now, in an area like this, it's hard to squeeze more in. I mean, the land is, you don't have barren land here, but you can get townhouses and condos, I suspect. Am I right about that? That they're still, yeah. I mean, I would think so.
That's what they've been doing in South Central. South Central is a lot of investors.
Is that right? Okay. Put up 1 year, Caroline.
B as in boy.
Well, here, get up 1 year first.
Well,
Let's just look at the last year.
well, it's not, it looks different than how we do it. Yeah.
Take our seat and sit down and do it, don't you? Switch seats. Anyhow, XHB was up 57% last year. Right? That's mind-boggling.
Doing
That just flat out mind-boggling. It's telling you that there is a robust concern about real estate.
oh, here you go.
People want to move out and move in. They are.
So is this a national?
Yeah, it's national.
Just United States?
Yeah. It's just United States. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, so is this it? Can we get 1 year on it?
It's just different than how when go to 5 years and then I'm trying to go to the
I'll put
comparison.
5 years on. I don't care. Here's 1 year. Here's 1 year right here. Okay, so the stock market had a pretty good year last year, most of it in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it took, it was a slog. And by the way, a lot of the inflation, just to backtrack for a second, wasn't just the Fed misjudged. What they really misjudged was the supply chain bottlenecks. I think that shocked everybody, how screwed up that got. And that seems to be clearing.
There's
And
a,
that's helped. Here's the S&P, put the Dow up. Can you get the Dow?
They're down today.
The Dow, when I looked the options up, the Dow was up 13%, the S&P 22, and that was a sensational year. Most of it right here at the end, right? But look at this, 50%. Yikes! Your business is rocking and rolling. You just gotta find inventory. Find inventory and spit in the wind. Someone will buy the damn thing. Right? So get out and find that inventory. That to me is the big message of the day. All right.
Usually our stuff trails 90 days, usually, from what happened prior. So that means that we had a good summer, really. So
Yeah, maybe.
we won't
yeah.
know until
Yeah. Well, and home building
probably
must trail.
March.
Home building
how
must
our-
trail because it takes time to build the place.
Yeah.
But I live in a street that has no empty lots, but there's 3 buildings going up. Somebody died, moved, whatever. I mean, I don't know. But
So is
something
the
happened.
S&P gonna do another
I
20%?
don't bug me. Okay, here's what I am telling you is gonna happen. Real estate had a bad year last year. I think you have an opportunity for a good year here, but it's not gonna be a record breaker. I mean, let's not kid each other. If you work hard, I think you can do okay. This is not gonna be a record breaker. There's still lack of inventory. If you think
There's lack of agents too.
say it again?
There's lack of actually working.
Yeah,
agents,
yeah,
so-
absolutely, we gotta work at it. But this may be a year to contemplate Roth conversions if you have an IRA. If your income is likely in your judgment to be less than you're accustomed to, you wanna do a Roth conversion. So that's the kind of thing we can help you with. So now I'm talking about us, not with you. Also, if you're older and you take money out of your own accounts to have supplemented your income in the last year or so because business was slower, if you're over 59 and a half, don't take it out of your personal accounts, take it out of your retirement accounts because you'll be in a low tax bracket. So that would be a good year to start drawing some of that if you have to. If you don't have to, you don't want to. But if you're finding yourself in that situation, excuse me, I'm sorry, I thought I turned it on. If you're finding yourself in that situation, that's the kind of thing that a financial advisor can help you with. We'd like that to be us, but if not us, someone. Okay. Like any business, every business, you have to deal with supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand, you got to deal with supply. If there's a lot of supply, you got to deal with demand. You're in a position right now, you got to deal with supply. And every business goes through this. And you got to create the supply, and I'm telling you, it's out there. It is out there. Okay, what questions might you have? They were my notes, but I'm happy to try and deal with whatever you might have on your mind.
So back to the being pessimistic about everything. I think because of COVID money coming in and people holding on, there's that kind of reaction like 2008 where people are still scarred from that. Like they always feel the sky is falling and they want it to fall. It just, it never falls.
Yeah. Well, and I must tell you, the one thing about that, tensions, whether they be political, Democrat, Republican, etc., whether, like climate, etc., all of those concerns are what make it work because somebody deals with it, because they're battling it out, so somebody's dealing with it. So they're good tensions. I mean, it's great to be an American, baby. I mean, we fight it out, but we tend to get there. I mean, I know you get the crazies, but most people aren't crazy. Some are, but most aren't. But that's a very healthy tension and debate. That's what that amounts to, yes.
So I have a client slash friend that her husband just passed away this year, and she's dealing with all, the finances and the stocks and things.
Right.
What is your consultation fee, if she's coming back from Arizona next month to visit?
Where in Arizona?
Levine, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she's coming back,
We don't charge for consultation, and we have some of the people in this room are clients. They're free. We're kind of old school about that. A lot of our business now charges for that.
Yeah.
But I guess I grew up in the old school. If you go to, here's my big line on it. If you go to a department store, you walk in, nobody charges you. You touch and feel the material, nobody charges you. Try it on, nobody charges you. They only charge you if you become a client. So that's the same with us. We'd be happy to, we want to crack at her business.
Yeah.
Well, we'd be happy to work with her, and if we make sense to her, hopefully she'll become a client. If we don't, that's too bad for us, and maybe for her. But we try and do a very good job. We do not charge for the meeting.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Thank you.
And if there is a charge down the road, we're very transparent, so they'll know what commissions or costs they may or may not have. So we're very transparent about it.
She just needs to understand what she's
Yeah,
looking
somebody to
at.
pull it together.
Yeah, just,
And if, we would be happy to help her, but I used to live in Arizona. If she wants somebody local, I could probably recommend someone, because
Oh, okay.
I used to own the largest brokerage firm in the state. So I
Yeah.
know people there.
Oh, okay, that would be
I've
great.
been away a long time, but I still
Yeah.
have some
Okay.
connection. I would rather it be through us, obviously,
Yeah.
but we'd be glad to help her.
Okay.
I feel for people who have had a loss. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no question. And then usually they need help.
Yeah, she does, and she does have a sister here, so she comes a lot.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yeah, we would love
actually,
to
she
help.
was gonna be here, but she had to drive back today, so.
Well,
love for you.
we'd love to have a talk.
Okay, good.
For whatever it's worth, she'll decide, yes.
Ray, I know you don't like to do long predictions, but do you have any thoughts on 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Well, 10 years, I may be dead, so.
As far as the economy is concerned?
Yeah, if you ask me anytime in American history, 5 years, 10 years down the road, I'm telling you, it's gonna be good. It's America. We are so good at this. We are the richest country the world has ever known. We know what we're doing. I mean, if you go around talking to the public and, my congressman's an idiot. The congressman's not an idiot. You're an idiot. I mean, we know what we're doing. We're really good at this. And I think sometimes people lose touch with that. So yeah, I mean, anybody who lives in America and isn't an optimist is just lying. I mean, really.
Good point.
I like the part that you said, I was not here yet, but I was listening to you.
I beat you up enough on that. You don't have to.
No, it is, I believe what that person told you, that you just need to talk English, learn English.
Speak English and work.
It is true.
English and work,
It's
yeah.
true.
You mentioned something about rolling over from your retirement.
The
What are
rock.
you rolling it over in?
Well, you can roll it over into anything, but if you change it from an IRA or a 401k or 403b or whatever, a SEP, you can roll it to a Roth, and if you're in a lower enough tax bracket, it makes sense. If you're not, it doesn't, because you have to pay tax on that rollover. But now, whenever you draw it down the road, it comes out tax-free. So it could be very tax beneficial.
The only thing I'm drawing out right now is my RMDs.
Yeah, but if you roll it over, you won't have to draw that, and if you were to draw it, you would
But Carol's making
become out
money.
tax-free.
Yeah, so you should probably wait until you're retired.
Yeah, if you're making money, it's premature.
Right. Well, theoretically, I'm making money.
Okay, but it's something to talk
Name of the
about. If
business.
you wanted to make an appointment or something, we'd be happy
All
to,
theory.
and then we could tell you explicitly if it's beneficial or not. It's arithmetic, it's numbers. I mean, it's easy to decipher that. That's an easy question to answer of should you or should you not. So that's pretty easy.
Sorry.
Um,
Thank you. Yeah.
But back to your thing, like, I have a friend whose daughter, she went to Cuba and she likes Cuba. And it's like, really? I mean, she thinks Cuba's great. I said, have you noticed people are swimming with the sharks to get the hell out of there? Nobody is swimming to get in. I mean, you gotta be crazy.
Danny's traveled most of the South American countries, and that was the worst country. He actually went to Cuba via Mexico before.
Yeah, I mean,
It's very
you
poor.
know,
I never wanted to go there.
yeah,
I
I
know
mean,
so many
everybody's
bad
trying to
things.
get in, nobody's trying to get out. You know, there was a very well-known writer named James Fallows who wrote for the Atlantic magazine. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but he lived in China a lot through the years as a reporter. And I read this a number of years ago by him, but it was very interesting. He said that I know a lot of Chinese who come to America to be citizens. I don't know one American who comes to China to be a citizen. They'll come for business, but they're going back home. Not one is staying.
Good point.
So it's great to be an American, and we lose sight of that, you know. So if you ask me 5, 10 years from now, I would be enormously optimistic. Maybe that particular month of the 5th year will be lousy, but overall, we're good to go.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I don't give a damn who gets elected and who doesn't. You know, the system works.
For now.
No, it works.
So the election system, who knows
It's worked
how that's
for-
gonna turn
It's
out.
worked for
But
200
everything
years.
else will work out fine.
I mean, we've had good presidents, lousy presidents, and you know, it
What
works.
about the war going on right now? Do you think it's
Not
gonna
our
have
war.
a
Not our
you know,
war. Not our war. I mean, we're taking sides, but it's not our war. We don't have anybody on the ground. And we've had wars. I mean, Vietnam, Afghanistan, you know, these are excursions. They're not really, I mean, it's not World War II, for God's sakes. You know, in Afghanistan, we had a bunch of guys wandering around. I mean, it wasn't a hell of a lot going on there. We didn't have a lot of troops on the ground. I think we lost 2,500 men or something like that. I mean, that's not a lot in a 12-year period of time. It's bad for those 2,500 and their families. I'm not trying to be dismissive, but you know, that's not a war to test the economy. It just doesn't. And it doesn't test the economy to help Israel or Ukraine or whatever. It just doesn't.
On the topic of pessimism, what do you say to younger people, especially Gen Z, now that we're the next?
I can never keep track of who's who. I
don't-
stay with younger
To
people.
tell you
I'll stay
the
with
truth,
younger
it's not
people.
important, just say young people.
Yeah,
and-
I can't figure out who the hell is who. I know the baby boomers. I kind
Carol
of
and millennials, they're Gen Z.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
go
Gen
ahead.
Z.
We are the next generation
Right.
of people buying houses, but my generation is very pessimistic. They're, we have low income. Oh, we don't have enough savings to buy a house. Oh, the market's bad. So what do you say to us?
They're wrong. I mean, you can buy a house for 3.5% down. I heard some guy say that on the news the other day. I don't know what kind of house you get, but nobody ever had an easy time buying their first house. I had friends in Pittsburgh, and their first house, they had no furniture. They slept on the floor. They didn't have any more money, but they wanted that damn house. I don't think any generation ever had an easy time buying a house. Now, you're the nearest to my age. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's very important that they get into that first house, in Big Bar or Steel or however. And that was the biggest
Condo
goal.
or whatever it is.
I have-
Something, yeah.
Yeah, get roommates, you know, my kids, they got roommates, they bought the cheapest condo in San Pedro that they could find, and a roommate.
And I think your generation, this is me saying this, I think it's actually easier because your generation, I think more often than not can get help from parents. My generation, America wasn't as rich. So there wasn't as much help forthcoming. Because my parents' generation came out of the Great Depression and then the war. So they didn't have as much time to build to help. Your generation has, in a lot of cases, has help. And speaking of which, I don't know if you're aware of this, you may or may not be, but I'll throw it out there. You know, you're allowed to give, what is it now, $18,000 a year or $19,000 a year? I don't remember. I think it's 18 or 19.
For the gift?
As a gift, yeah. But you're not limited to that. You have $11 million a person, so a couple has 22 or 25 million dollars that they can give. So they can give that 18 or 19,000 plus any portion of their 11 million, and that's without a tax ramification. Now, let's say I gave my kid $1 million. When I die, I only have 10 million left. Duh.
Yeah, and that's the other part, that you can even give it as an exemption to the state, right?
Say it again.
That somebody told me that if, for example, I wanted to buy or inherit Stefan alive, it would be an exemption to the,
Yeah,
to the state.
yeah, you have up to 11 million a pop.
Yeah.
So families can help to a really high extent if they're able to. Not everybody is, but more are today than previous generations. I would say that with great confidence. I do think that the younger generation has higher expectations because you grew up in a period of greater prosperity. So I used to like to tease people, particularly when I lived in Arizona. Housing in Arizona is like all anybody talks about. But I used to say, your kids, they don't want a house. They really don't. They want a mansion on top of Camelback Mountain and another one in Hawaii. They don't want a house. They want a mansion. Our generation wanted a house. And maybe you're seeing that too, where they want something that, is glorious. Doesn't work that way. You start.
The other part is we have made it so comfortable for the kids to remain at home. And I remember.
I'm the kid, but.
He is a kid, but I remember when I was uncomfortable and I wanted to get out at 20. This one's they're 25 and I think I'm gonna learn how to drive. And I'm
No,
like,
that's not me. That's not me.
Well,
That's not
They
me.
feel entitled.
I got my
So
license
there
at
is a
16.
lot of
I'm good.
that. And then listen, we old codgers will always complain about the young people. But everybody struggles to buy their first house, and that's not
Yeah.
new. That's just not.
I've got a good workshop on buying the first property, so I'll put that on our
Yeah.
list here.
Yeah, but, so, and it's always hard to get started. It's hard to buy your first car, it's hard to go to college. All those things are always been hard. Always been. And then, like I said, in many respects, I think they're easier. Like when I went to college, they weren't throwing around government loans like that. It was hard to, so I think it's gotten easier because, America wants to accommodate. We want our people to be educated. We want them to be housed. So there's help. Okay, what else? That may not be the answer you wanted to hear, but I think it's the true answer. Okay, any other? All right.
He turned around.
Anytime, yes?
So the generational wealth, though, I think that grandparents are the thing that's different too, because now that we have at least 2 or 3 generations of wealth,
Well,
that it may not be your parents, but if the grandparents that lived in their original house, they're essentially sitting on money that you distributed out, and there's no reason why
Yeah.
kids can't buy that rather than.
well, listen, we've had unrelenting wealth now for 80 years. Unrelenting prosperity.
Yeah, so
For
it goes
80
back
years.
to
So
3
there's
generations.
money around. I mean, it
and there's
really
less
is.
kids too. I
No
mean,
other society has ever
families
had
were
that.
4 or 5. Now you have 1, 2. So
Less kids, she
yeah,
said.
Fewer kids, yeah.
fewer kids.
Now, I will say this, though. There are a lot of kids, Caroline being a living example, who are what are called the sandwich generation. She has children and parents who need help, so they're sandwiched in. So there are a lot of kids that have a bind, because there aren't as many, they have to do both ends, the children and the parents, a lot of them. So, listen, but those have always been issues. They're not new. They're not new. So they'll get through it. And whenever they get older, they'll be complaining about their kids complaining. Okay, anytime anyone in our industry speaks publicly, by compliance, we must have record of attendees.
Yeah.
So Caroline's gonna give you a sign-in card. Please fill them out. It's a compliance issue. If you or your friend would like appointment, check yes, and we'll be in touch on that. But that's entirely up to you.
This is courtesy of,
For anybody watching on the screen,
Ray,
we'd
I
like you
wanted
to
to share
let
with
us know.